She gave us the latest.
I've got a printed copy in case you
Every
need it.
meeting, guy.
No, still one of two. I've got the agenda.
It's there somewhere.
Agenda for next week.
And on the administrator's report, if it's okay, I have a couple of updates for council before they ask questions.
Yeah. Holy crap. I do love.
6:30.
Was put out those different requests, right?
We have everybody. Okay, Mayor's ready to call us to order. No, she just came over to tell me he said he's not even gonna be on Zoom.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Fred Hashimoto, Mayor of Corrales, would like to call this council meeting to order. It is April 14th, 2026. Please turn your cell phones off or put them on silent and stand and repeat after me the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Miera.
Aquí.
Councilor Waldman.
Here.
Councilor Knight.
Here.
Councilor Burkett.
Here.
Councilor Murray.
Here.
And Councilor Alsobrook is not here. May I please have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. The next item is the administrator's report.
Nope.
Melanie?
We have approval of appointments.
Appointments.
Oh, approval.
You have the agenda.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do agenda where?
So here we have Susan Dawson.
I have an old one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next item is approval of an appointment, Susan Dossett to the Equestrian Advisory Board. Susan, are you here? That's not. May I have a motion to approve Susan Dossett, please?
I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. The next item is a presentation by Maggie Robinson on a very unique project.
I will start. So I just want to give a little background how this all came about, and I'm going to take about 30 seconds because she's got a lot of good stuff. Corrales Arts Center this year or so, I've decided to work with some youth programs, and one of them we're doing is Young in Art that used to be done at Freeman Art. So I want to invite all of you to go to Village Pizza the 17th to the 24th and look at the art from Corrales Elementary, Corrales K-8. And then Maggie brought up this really great mural project, and we were all so in love with it that we have sent her off running on her own. I just want to say that we're lucky to have people like Maggie and many other people in this community that will share their expertise with others, make our community better every day. So Maggie Robinson, you're on.
So thank you so much for being willing to hear about this exciting project. I have a PowerPoint that will give you a visual. Okay, so this is going to be called the Corrales Community Mural. It will be a mosaic mural, meaning it will be both clay and glass. And it will be 80 square feet. The deal is that we want the children of Corrales from grades 4th through 8th grade to create the clay objects. And then the adults and or artists to do the glass background. The theme of the mural is Corrales. Specifically, its past, its present, and future. Consequently, the mural will be divided into 3 parts, past, present, and future. In order for the students to get a deepened sense of Corrales, we've recruited several volunteers to go into the schools early during the school year to talk about Corrales history from their perspective, to talk about animal husbandry, to talk about the bosque preservation, and a whole host of other aspects of Corrales. And then the kids will be making their artwork. Can you go to the next slide, please? These are some past mosaic murals that my students created when I was teaching middle school in Rio Rancho. The reason I'm sharing them with you is to give you an idea as to the power of celebration and the power of community building with such projects. This particular theme, it was entitled Our Community, and involved over 800 students and took approximately 1,100 hours to create. Needless to say, it took all year. Yes. There's one before that, I think. Yeah. This is also in Rio Rancho. This is an integrated arts mural involving both glass and clay. The theme was mythology. So the 6th grade students basically studied classical mythology, Nordic mythology, American mythology, etc. And then with their language arts class, they created their own mythology as well as a book. The black squares you see around the mural were actually their covers for their stories. Okay, next. And this one, many of you probably have seen this because it's out in public. It's the Art Above, which is a park for kids with special needs. This involved middle school students from across Rio Rancho Public Schools. And it is, again, glass and clay. So it gives you a visual idea as to what to anticipate with the Corrales mural. Next, please. Yeah, this is the not so fun part. And if any of you want to volunteer, the grouting is like playing with mud. So maybe as true Corrales, we like that. Yeah. One of the most wonderful things about being part of a collaborative mural is how it really builds confidence with kids and brings families together. And it really does change lives. A lot of the students I've had have gone on to actually have professional art careers with mosaics. So next. This is where it's going to be. Mayor asked if I could show a high-tech example. And so I grabbed my 2 grandkids and said, guys, we're going out to the playground. I said, sure, let's do it. They have no idea why I asked them to do this, but basically that's going to be the model. So it's going to be a frame that will essentially hug one of the corners of the playground. And it will be a steel frame. The panels themselves will float within the steel frame so that that allows for the constriction and expansion of the mural itself, given our weather. Okay, next. And again, this is who's going to be doing it. It's going to be the kids from the 3 schools from the Santa Vista School, the Corrales Public School, the Corrales Montessori, and also the homeschoolers. All of these school bodies are very excited about this project, which is exciting. So far, we have volunteers from CAC, from CHAMP, Middle Rio Grande Conservancy. We have, can you go, there it is, the Natural History Museum, Wild Birds Unlimited Rights. You can read all this. And as of yesterday, we have a representative from the Santa Ana Pueblo who's willing to come and speak to the schools. about life here when the Indians were, the Pueblo people were living here. These mural consultants are just phenomenal people. They're just people you would just want to keep as dear friends all your life. Their generosity and their expertise, they're willing to do whatever to help this mural be a top-notch professional. Next. And so the basic schedule is for the first half of the fall semester, these volunteers will go into the classrooms, meet teachers, meet the kids, and talk about their expertise. As the kids are listening and experiencing all this knowledge, they'll be writing in what we call a research journal, which is essentially like a diary science research collaboration where they are taking down their impressions, they're coming up with sketches, they've got questions, maybe they want to create a poem or what have you. So we like this idea of a research journal. By the way, this comes out of UNM Art Education Department, because it affords the students to not only think of a visual object that they can create out of clay for the mural, but it also invites them to think about maybe participating in a public performance when the mural will be unveiled. So there's a sort of a parallel happening with this project. You've got the mural, and then you've got possibility of public performances with the theme of Corrales. Okay, that's a big yummy part of this. Okay, and then the unveiling is going to be on the 22nd of May, and that hopefully will be a day when all of us can participate and be proud of this wonderful village. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
So I was looking at your list. Do you have the Corrales Historical Society included in this?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so, actually.
Okay, so I was going to say Mary Davis would be an excellent resource for historical.
Yeah. The Rice's committee has been very informative and helpful, and their expertise has been valuable.
So is there any other thoughts maybe about installing maybe solar lights so that during the night, maybe it's illuminated? Any thoughts about that? I mean,
It's the first time I thought about it.
well, I mean, it's something maybe the village could pitch in for, but I think, especially in the wintertime, as dark as it gets, as early as it does, it'd be nice to be illuminate this, and so forth.
Yeah.
And then one last question is, how easy is it to clean?
It's totally easy.
Okay, good.
You wanted to sign up to.
No, well, what I'm worried about is, is there's a lot of artwork in Albuquerque. It's graffiti.
Yeah.
And I hate to have this just, destroyed because some idiot would come in there with a spray gun.
Well, it's so interesting, sir, you bring that up, because to my knowledge and to the knowledge of these other expertise in mosaic artists, mosaic art doesn't get defaced. Painted murals do. And we've often wondered why. And we think it might be because the people involved in making it tend to be in the collective, tend to be a group. And it really is something that takes time and a lot of thought. So instead of it being like, here's the mural, they're going to have to look at it. It's more of, this is who we are. This is what we do. And so there's an ownership.
So is there any thought about maybe on the backside of doing anything? Maybe doing a paint?
We actually are very open to ideas. We do want to acknowledge all the participants. But we haven't decided exactly what to do.
Okay.
I think we're sort of wanting people to respond first.
Okay.
So on the 21st of April, there's a very important meeting at the public school in which interested teachers from the 3 schools, including the homeschoolers, will meet with the volunteer experts, and together they will meet and decide on a time when those experts, volunteers, can go into the classrooms and start teaching kids.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate your question.
Mr. Waldman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is a fantastic project. I'm really excited about this. Just one minor note, if I could. On your first page, you say it's in the northwest corner, and a few pages down, you say it's in the northeast. We know where it is.
Yeah.
But for future reference, you might want to take a look at that.
Yeah, no, I did actually, and thank you. I didn't mean to baffle you. But it's one of those things where if you look at the entire.
It's not hard.
It's actually the northeast, but if you look at from the perspective of the actual playground, it's the northwest, so.
So don't change, it. Be good.
Tomato.
Thanks,
But thank you so
thanks
much.
for what you're doing.
Anyone else?
Any other questions for Maggie? Counselor Maria?
One for you. Is this going to interfere with the bathroom construction or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I guess one
Counselor Burkett?
related to the same thing. When we when we get further along in the bathroom construction, if there is consideration to put electricity and lights on this thing, I mean, maybe solar power is an option, but I think we should certainly consider the electrical work that we're doing for one, doing the other at the same time, just to make sure we don't end up going dig up what we previously did.
Good point.
Yeah, and Maggie and we talked about location in the park too, because we don't know what's going to go behind it in the Heritage Park, and it's possible to maybe move that whole frame in the context of what's going to be in the bigger picture later. But right now, this seems to be an ideal spot.
And I did talk to Jeff and he says it is movable.
Good, great, thank
For
you.
that suggestion.
Counselor Waldman?
Yeah, just one,
Yeah.
the meeting on the 21st
Yes.
at the school, what time
It's
and
at-
where?
2:30. So we go to the main office and hopefully the vice principal will shepherd us towards where it's going to be.
Thank you.
So
We might be just a little bit late.
I'll put the budget, right?
But
I knew the 21st.
Okay. great.
supposed to end at
Look-
3, so we'll see.
Look forward to seeing you. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Now, the next item is a Corlenos Forum. This section is for informational purposes only, not for. Oh, I'm sorry. The next item is the administrator's report.
Before we launch into questions, I have a couple of updates for things that have come in since I wrote this on Friday. First of all, my apologies for forgetting to change the date. If you notice, the report is dated March 24th instead of April 14th. So my proofreader skills failed me on Friday. So Mayor Hashimoto and I met with a couple of people about the AI project that Councillor Waldman had mentioned a couple of meetings back. They had some very interesting ideas. They brought us a list generated by AI telling us how AI could help the village. Unfortunately, a number of those projects on the list were all things that the village has no control over. So they were great ideas, such as using AI to model traffic on Corrales Road to see how things like the upcoming traffic study of four-way stops or reducing speed, how that would affect traffic. And we said, that's great, but you'll have to take that one to DOT because we don't have control of the road. Another one that they suggested was monitoring water use in the village. And again, we were like, that's a great idea if we had a municipal water system, but since everybody's on private wells, I don't think anybody wants us monitoring their private well use. Did you have a question, Councilor?
Well, just if you're finished, so I've met with them a couple times.
Yeah.
I also sent them major reports prepared by the National League of Cities and also the National Conference of State Legislators, which deal with AI in the public sector, as well as referring them to Alicia Keys, who's a former Secretary of Economic Development for the state, who now has a company called Apaluma, which is also doing work for AI in the public sector. So they've got their homework to do
Yes.
before they come back to
Yeah.
come back to you.
And they did send us some information. One of the things that I had mentioned was that if we're going to implement any kind of AI in the village, we really need to adopt an AI policy prior to adopting any AI technology. So we need written procedures on how it would be used, how it would be monitored by human beings, that kind of thing. So they actually did send me a couple of policies from other municipalities. So we're going to look over that. So it was great to meet with them, but I'm not sure it's the right project for the village at this time, but we'll definitely keep them in mind in the future. I had a question about the road work at La Entrada between Andrews Lane and Village Hall. So the roadway had been cut into for the installation of the fire line a couple weeks back. And then the contractor came in and patched that over last week. But unfortunately, when they were done, they dumped some of the excess asphalt on Andrews Lane. So the mayor called Chief Martinez and Public Works Director Steve Lescu and asked them to go out and clean it up. And so it was cleaned up that same afternoon. And they did have a talk with the contractor and asked them to please not do that again. So that's what happened there. Let's see what else. We don't have any updates on the NMDOT project yet, either the traffic study or the four-way stops, because we haven't met with them yet. But we do meet with them on Thursday. So we'll have a full update on what's going on with those projects at the next council meeting. And then finally, council had previously approved a resolution to move forward with our next bond sale. We hit a little bit of a snafu with NMFA asking for project information that we don't have yet. And so they were kind of saying that we might not be able to go through NMFA for our bond sale because they wanted actual projects and costs and everything. And one of the beauties of using NMFA in the past has been it gives us the most flexibility with those projects. So, you know, like for the money we're going to sell for the road projects, we can have that money. And if we get a grant, we can use the matching funds from the bond money. Or if we don't get the grant, we can use the bond money to fund an entire road project. So, you know, we do like to have that flexibility. So Stifel had suggested that maybe we look at going to a bank sale for our bond or to the open market like we did for the last bond sale. However, this afternoon I got a call from Stifel, Nick at Stifel, and he said, good news, NMFA has said they don't need all of that information. They're happy with just the bond language as we've done in the past. So we will still maintain that flexibility. And so we are moving forward with the application with the bond sale, which will go before the NMFA board next Thursday. So we'll have an update on that at the next council meeting as well.
Thank you. Melanie, I just wanted to go back a little bit. You had talked about a four-way stop plan.
Mm-hmm.
Is this definitely in the works? Do you have a four-way stop on Corrales Road?
They are looking at four-way stops.
Oh.
So they are looking at the locations of Sagebrush and Corrales Road. They are looking at La Entrada and Corrales Road. They are looking at Meadowlark and Corrales Road, and they are looking at Cabazon and Corrales Road.
Is this a done deal? Or-
No, it is not a done deal. This is it's just a study. And they did tell us that any kind of changes along the road, they will ask for a resolution of support from the council, which is something that to my knowledge, NMDOT has never asked for a resolution of support on a change that they are proposing. So this just kind of goes to show that they're trying to work with the village and take into account villagers' wishes. But yeah, when they first mentioned this, I went, oh, that's not going to go over well with anybody. But you know, they think that it could help with the congestion at certain times of the day. It could help with the, you know, trying to turn left onto Corrales Road off of Meadowlark. So we will definitely keep you posted on what happens with that. But right now it's just a study, but those are the locations they are looking at.
Road rage.
Yeah, road rage. Yeah.
Thank you. I
Yes.
think.
Okay. And I think that's all the updates. So questions?
So Murray?
Next time, could we have an update on the Coronado and Reclining Acres drainage plans?
You got it.
Counselor Waldman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I wanted to address this section of your report on the animal services remodel of the cat area. In my request, the village received $35,000 from County Commissioner Kathy Brooke last September for this project. While there have been discussions of the path forward, nothing has been done to alleviate the conditions which exist currently. Animal services staff is asked to provide services, but do not have the resources. If there was ever a project that was ready to go, this is it. The need is there. The project is comparatively small, and the bulk of the funds have been available for the past 8 months. Time equals money, and the price of everything continues to increase. We're now told that we need additional bids. This could take weeks and a few months for work to begin. I realize there may have been delays in the change of administrations, but the requirements for additional bids based on anticipated costs should have been known and sought when the money was received. I looked up the state regulations, key requirements for mobile bids in New Mexico for work ranging from $20,001 to $60,000 requires at least 3 verbal or written bids. It doesn't have to be written bids. Again, this money was received in September. The bidding process and completion of this project could have happened months ago before the start of kitten season and the annual influx. This really is unacceptable and makes the village not good to the county commission or to the residents. Since verbal bids are acceptable, I request that additional bids be received, a contractor selected, and a definite start date established, and a report to the council no later than the first meeting in May 12th. If we can do that, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
So our procurement code does allow us to go with state contract for
Right.
anything between 20 and 60,000. And that was the quote that we got was under state contract. But with some comments from the council about only getting 1 bid, even on state contract, that was why we are going out for a second one.
So, but if the regulations call for 3 bids, which can be verbal, beyond 60,000, obviously they have to be written.
Mhm.
That's established in state law.
Right.
So-
But yeah, that's what, but we don't have to get those 3 bids if we go with a state contract or a CES contract.
Oh,
So that's why we chose somebody
Got it.
under state contract.
okay, okay.
Yeah, but because there's been some comment
Sure.
here with council that you would like us to get at least 2 bids on projects with state contracts. So,
That's moving along now.
yes, yeah, we're working on that.
Great. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilor Burkett.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I wanted to address the first part of the administrator's message, which was a lengthy apology for some base course that was put down across the street. I, like many people, was surprised to see the base course go down, but I was surprised by multiples the next day when I saw the base course coming up. And I will tell you that some of the emails I saw from people, up to including like requests for termination from one uninformed citizen, really blew my mind. To say that this was a decision that one person unilaterally made is completely false. We've talked about it multiple times in Village Council. I was surprised because we have a site development plan coming up in the near future, and so I was surprised to see it happen. But this was under the direction and request of previous administration. They had the materials already. There's been discussion. Mel had brought up filling in holes and puddles over there. At the last meeting, I had specifically brought up improving parking lots to make it better for our parking situation. There was direction from previous leadership. I have a 2022 email from a heritage tree group sent by our current mayor. Bullet point number 2 was that property would be great parking because of its direct access to Corrales Road. Even further in this administrator's report, it talks about the bathrooms and that the only improvement we're considering for that property right now is parking related to the bathrooms. So 2 things. I think that the gravel eventually will go back, base course, gravel, whatever we want to call it, because it makes that better. It improves a bunch of situations. But more importantly, I want to offer wholehearted support for our village administrator because I think she did nothing wrong. And the vitriol that was in some of those emails is embarrassing. So I hope that we don't see much more of that, but my support is 100%.
Thank you, Counselor. I appreciate that.
Councilor Murray.
So along those lines, I do support the administrator but I do also support site development plans that need to be approved. And we do not have that for the Gonzalez property or the Anderson property. Therefore, I don't care what the previous administration did or had planned. We needed a site plan to be approved by P&Z. And we can do that and do it properly and fall within our ordinances the way we need to be following. So I'm not going to badmouth Melanie because it was what it is. But at the same time, Councilor Burkett, I do agree that we need to have a site development plan and it needs to be approved before we do any kind of work over there. The bathrooms, that was approved. And we know that, but I do agree with you. I mean,
I'm not sure putting down gravel requires a site development plan.
any improvement to a lot is considered needing a site development plan. It's in regulation 1845-2, I think. I may be wrong.
I mean, I think maintenance and improvement overlap in this particular situation. When it is a muddy mess with potholes, I mean, we don't ask for that every time we put gravel down in
I know.
potholes anywhere else in the village.
I understand, but again, site development plans are the way we should follow the rules.
I agree 100%. And yes, once we have one for the bathrooms, my hunch is that base course and gravel will be on there.
So
And
I have some-
Counselor Knight?
Is this counselor's forum now? Because I have. some-
we're just on that administrator's report so far.
No, it's the administrator's report.
So should
Any other questions or comments for Melanie?
again, I guess I'll wait till counselor's forum.
Counselor Waldman?
A quick question. Melanie, could you tell us what you mean by improvements for the Metal Arc Islands? I don't remember.
Yeah, that came up, I think it was during the Corralenos Forum, and it was mentioned, and I drive that way when I take our deposit to the bank many days. But yeah, it was brought up that some of that dirt is up at the level of the curbing. And so if we ever do get some good rains, it won't puddle in the islands like it should. And so at one time we had some landscaping in there, but it's kind of died off. I know we had some fabulous residents that live on Meadowlark that had been going out there and kind of maintaining that on their own. And I thank them wholeheartedly for doing that. But in order to make any improvements, we would have to close down the road. And so we really have to be careful about when we plan on making any of those improvements.
And just very briefly, what would the improvements look like?
So I think what Steve and I had kind of talked about was maybe putting some, like xeriscaping type of thing that wouldn't require water, maybe some type of rock or something that, would be still an impervious surface. And so we don't have anything definite yet on that. It's still just kind of an idea, but it had come up in the Corralenos Forum. And I do recognize that it is something that probably needs to be addressed at some point, but we aren't really too hip on closing the road again if we don't have to. So
Sure. Thank you.
Counselor Miera?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You mentioned it earlier when we were talking, but the DOT meeting, we're going to do it on Thursday.
yes,
But you think the report didn't have it at what time?
1:30. So it'll be 1:30 at the in the conference room.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for the administrator?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Moving right along. Next item is the Corralenos Forum. This section is for informational purposes only, not for discussion and debate to inform the governing body of an issue or a concern that will not be addressed on the agenda during the business session. Mandy, how many people have signed up for this?
19.
Can I do 2 minutes? What do you think? Okay, given that there are 19 people signed up, we will give each speaker 2 minutes. Usually we do 3, but 19 is a large number for this. So, Mandy, who's up first?
Bob Eichhorst.
Good evening, Bob Eichhorst. I live in Corrales. Before I get started, we don't need more seats, although we're packed tonight. We need more space between the seats. You cannot walk between the aisles to get in or out at all. And you guys got brand new chairs. In the long run, we need more better seats. Okay. Melanie's mea culpa was great. I don't think she did anything wrong. We discussed last month or last meeting, we may have to put up no parking signs. And then we have a parking lot that's available. And she catches a hard time because she put down gravel. I don't agree with that it needs a site plan. When I call up a damn gravel guy to give me some gravel, I don't have an amended site plan. I'm filling up potholes in my yard. Gravel is gravel. I think it was appropriate. I see nothing wrong with it. I think in the long run, we still have the list of improvements you guys want to do on this thing, one of the lists is better parking for the library. Where are you going to park at the library? You got the bathrooms need parking. You've got to improve the Gonzalez property just so you have the property available for both projects. Eventually, you're going to need another parking lot. On the list you approved for all the stuff you're asking for everybody to give you money for. You want a pathway. Well, if you put a pathway, where do those people park to walk back and forth in this village? There's got to be the consideration. I don't live in the heart of the village. I live in the north end. I can't walk from my house to here. I can hardly walk from the back of the room to here. We need to make sure that we take care of the parking. It's a big problem. We've got so many problems. The one on Meadowlark, yes, I brought that up. The water will not drain into the islands because the islands are higher than the road. So they cannot drain. I don't think you have to shut down the whole road to fix it. But if you look for the safety of the workmen, it's awful hard to have any traffic going by because there's no place for workmen to work on that island. That's why it has to be shut down.
And Mr. Wright, of course, it looks like our timer malfunctioned, so that's your time. Thank you.
We just got to get along, guys.
That's Mandy.
Ellen, Rob. So I'm just gonna yell when it's 2 minutes.
Yeah, you can do the timer on your phone and give people
No.
time there.
Good evening.
Hi, Melanie. Ellen, please say your name and address first.
Good evening. My name is Ellen Robb and I live at 55 Parade Road. My property is about 90 feet from Tsuzuki Stucco's construction yard. For me personally, the impacts from Tsuzuki's operations have mainly been from their numerous delivery trucks that block the road and their work trucks that speed down the dirt road, kicking up dust in front of my house to turn around on the ditch. And I've been concerned about the safety issues with shared pedestrian traffic, especially during school hours. Also, I have 3 horses on my property. My horses and the horses on 2 other properties have been impacted by Tsuzuki's operations. The noise and clamor of trailers and large delivery trucks caused the horses to spook. I also wrote to you about the unfortunate accident I was involved in when my neighbor's horse swallowed a sheet of plastic that blew over from Tsuzuki's dumpster into their corral. After 4 hours of suffering, that horse died. Over the years, the neighbors have approached Mr. Biddle directly several times about the impacts of his business in the neighborhood. Our requests were met with either defiance or indifference. Because we were unsuccessful in working directly with him, we filed a formal complaint with Corrales Planning and Zoning in 2021. At that time, several of Tsuzuki's employees were parking on both sides of the road and loitering and drinking after work. That practice stopped after our complaint. After we received Ms. Stout's letter responding to our complaint, we were very relieved to hear Tsuzuki would be moving. In the meantime, the noise, dust, traffic, and congestion continued and the dumpster overflowed. We gritted our teeth and held out hope they were moving. I knew some neighbors continued to provide Ms. Stout photos during the roadblock, asking for help. No response was received. We also informed Mel Knight of the continuing problems. She voiced surprise and she said she would follow up, but again, no response. So after relying on Ms. Stout's findings and representations in her 2021 report, you can imagine how disheartening it is to see that she is now, without any explanation whatsoever, reversed her position.
Alan, your time is up. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Can I just say one more sentence?
One more sentence.
Okay, because she didn't file a site plan. Anyway, as unfortunate as that is, I do want to say that I appreciate the 50 work trucks are currently not using Parade Road and the ditch as a driveway. I hope that will continue in good faith for all their large service and delivery trucks as well. Thank you.
Donnie Martinez.
All right.
Bible Church. First off,
Listening to the
I recognize the
council meeting.
first responders for your great concern.
Go potty. Still going.
Father, last Tuesday when I had to call paramedics. Thank you so much. So traffic control measures. This is not my topic, but I mentioned this 2 years ago when I was on the commission. I said that I'd spoken with the state and I told you this was going to be a consequence, and everybody laughed at me, and here we are. So what I'm going to read here in the spirit of my father, the voice of my father, because a lot of stuff I say is him. One of the recurring problems Corrales faces with commercial development stems from permits that should have never been approved in the first place. A permit was issued to a business for construction directly under an existing power line easement. I only learned about that when a relative at P&M called me, asking me, what are you guys doing there in Corrales? I wasn't even involved in village issues at the time, but it was it's embarrassing lapse in judgment, and that sets a precedent the village cannot afford to repeat. Now, when a business submits a site development plan, the plan is a binding commitment. It should define the scope of operations, and it's the village's responsibility to enforce those limits. If a business expands beyond what was approved, residents should not be the ones absorbing the impact. Allowing this practice reflects weak management and a breakdown in oversight. Assuming these issues stay out of public eye is misguided. They affect the community directly and visibly. People talk and people find out about it. Now, it's been suggested villagers don't want business here, but that's never been the case. Statements like that are irresponsibly divisive. Many of us know families behind these establishments and we want them to succeed. However, businesses must operate within the rules and the plan they presented to the village, and the village must ensure those rules are upheld. When this doesn't happen, it reflects a failure of ethics and responsibility on both sides. No business would openly state, my plan is to have the patrons parking up and down residential streets, blocking safe pathways. That's ludicrous. Yet that's exactly the burden that's being placed on residents when commitments aren't honored and enforcement is lax. The village should not absorb the negative consequence of business decisions, and residents should not be expected to tolerate impacts that were never part of the approved plan. As men say, handle your business. Okay, next.
Shannon Biddle.
Hello, my name is Shannon Biddle. I'm with Suzuki Stucco Company, 4735 Corrales Road. Okay. How many of y'all live in a stucco home? How long do you suppose that stucco lasts before you have to maintenance it? Suzuki Stucco is one of the few stucco companies operating here in Corrales. What makes us different from the others is that we have our own employees. Vetted, highly talented, trustworthy, and reliable. It may come as a surprise to you that the owners of the other stucco companies, excuse me, here are vastly different than Suzuki. They do not hire their own stucco crews. Instead, from their Corrales homes, they subcontract the work out to low bidders, many of which are not licensed and do not carry liability insurance. Unlike us, they don't have a yard or an office. We call them trucks in a truck. On top of that, these paper contractors charge the same prices as Suzuki. Who would you prefer to do business with? Nevertheless, it is in my view that Suzuki Stucco is an amenity and a vital service to the community at large. What's more, we are local, meaning we live here. We believe in the economic strength and the vitality of the village that stems largely from businesses and the residents that support them. Not only that, but we pump money into the village that recirculates. For instance, last week I met a business associate at Perea Restaurant. Several years ago, I introduced an advertising rep to Indigo Crow. Now they hold their annual customer appreciation parties there. I refill my soaps over at the Village Refillery with Lauren. I have my body adjusted by acupuncturist Jen and have massages from Michelle. The list is exhaustive, but the point is that businesses are the bedrock of the village's economy. And while I love to support businesses, I also realize that parking is a huge concern for us here in the village. What can we as citizens and business owners do collectively to help reduce the impact and the stress this is having on our community? My feelings are we need to firm up solutions. If we are wanting to put up signs in our village, let's start with one at the Gonzalez Field. Free parking here. Picture this.
Thank you, Shannon.
A heritage park, a pathway, a crosswalks that light up. We can do this. Let's see an example.
Next, Mandy.
Thank you. Troy Howard. Trey Howard.
Who's you call for?
Last, Howard, the last name Howard, Trey Howard.
Oh, okay.
Troy? Troy or Trey? Yeah, I can't read it. Is it Trey or Troy? Troy.
Troy Howard.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. We are
Troy,
incredibly,
please say your name and where your address, please.
Troy Howard, 4445 Corrales Road.
Thank you.
We are incredibly fortunate to live in a village that people want to come to, whether it is to visit, to gather, or to spend time and money within our community. That's something special, and it's something that many places wish they had. It is not just our local businesses that draw in, it's the life in this village. Saturday night bingo at the church, the Harvest Festival, the Starlight Parade, the 4th of July Parade, Easter egg hunts for our kids, and even the events at the old church. These moments are what make our village vibrant. They give people a reason to come here, and to more importantly, a reason to come back. These events may bring traffic at times, but that's not unique to us. It's no different than when we visit places like Madrid or Jemez. When we go there for the day, we enjoy the meal, a shop, and we don't see ourselves as a nuisance. We see ourselves as part of what keeps those communities alive. My wife and I were born and raised here, and we are fortunate enough to raise our children here as well. We've seen this village change over time. We've seen new people come and sometimes feel like once they arrive, they want to close the door behind them. We understand that businesses and events bring in traffic, but it's those same visitors who support our local economy and keep our village thriving. That activity generates gross receipts tax, revenue that goes right back into our village for roads, public safety, and community services. If we truly want a simpler time, maybe that starts with how we treat each other, talking to one another, working together, being part of the same village, not divided by it. Thank you.
Garth Dowling.
Mayor, may I suggest that the crowd restrain from loud applause till afterwards because it just impacts the length of time we have for the Corleone's forum.
I agree. Thank you very much. Next, Mandy.
Garth Dowling.
Garth Dowling, 7001 Loma Larga Road. Good evening, Mayor, Village Council, other interested parties. I am here on behalf of the Corrales Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. As the council considers Resolution 2616 regarding the paving, repair, and maintenance procedures policy, our committee encourages all parties involved to take into account preserving, if not enhancing, improving, or in some cases, creating new adequate safe space and signage for non-motorists, more vulnerable users of our village roads. It would be good to see such considerations included in these new guidelines for road paving, repair, and maintenance. Any paving or repaving projects of the roads under village control would be an excellent opportunity to put Corrales at the forefront of multi-use road safety. Certainly, one of Corrales's many attributes is the idea of roads safe equally for pedestrians, bicyclists, equestrians, burro drivers, llama wranglers, and heck, maybe even the occasional dog sled in case we ever get snow again. Whatever we can do to preserve and protect that idea would be a boon for all Corrales residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Garth. Next, Mandy.
Gray Howell.
Good evening. My name is Gray Howell, and 344 Manier Road. And this is a little bit of a lighter subject, I guess, but in an observance. On the wall over here, we have all the pictures and photographs of the former mayors. And we have a picture of our former Mayor Fahey up under the seal here. But we don't have a picture of our new Mayor Hashimoto. And I think it would be nice to keep things up to date. And wherever he may be, I think that would be a good thing to do. Thank you.
We actually talked about that yesterday, sir.
Next, Mandy.
Brad. 47 Rincon Road. Can't read the last. Says. It says Brad. No, it says Brad.
Nice.
May I? Thank you.
There's like 5 people before this person.
No, yeah. Good evening. My name is Sabine Schurter, 47 Rincon Road. We and many other residents have long supported and frequented the very many businesses along Corrales Road that have integrated in our village and add value to the community. The list of these businesses is long, and it should not take too much thought for any resident to start mentally identifying them. Nonetheless, it bears repeating again that no one who's working to preserve Corrales is against business. In fact, many of us are business owners ourselves. However, a group that has aligned itself in what can only be described as a reflexively defensive pro-business posture continues to amplify a narrative that simply does not exist. At a certain point, this reaction ceases to resemble grounded advocacy and instead reflects an unwillingness to engage in even basic self-reflection. The defensiveness is so immediate and entrenched that it leaves no room to consider whether concerns regarding the negative impacts caused by a select few businesses may in fact be valid. The parallels to broader national political dynamics is difficult to ignore. What is particularly troubling is not the support voiced for business itself, but specific choices about where that support has recently been directed towards businesses whose operations directly impact residents. Ability to move freely through the village, attend medical appointments, walk safely to school, sleep at night, enjoy outdoor living, and feel safe in their own home.
Sabine, your time's up. Thank you.
Teresa Lopez. I'm doing it in the order that it's written in. Feel like people. Your name is here twice, I think, is what it is. Brad, go ahead, go up. Yeah. Well, somebody signed for this person. Her chief way down here. This was the last person to go. Right, and your name is also down here, down with there, so it's halfway. 5 or 6 people after. But I doesn't know. Did you want to go now? Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you, Teresa.
I need, Brad Schurter, 47 Rincon Road. I think she left off at safe in our own homes. The current so-called pro-business conflict did not rise organically. It emerged only when the leadership began allowing certain businesses to operate outside established ordinances and prioritizing profits and self-interest over people. The question that remains is why this is a position still being defended, and why is there resistance to acknowledging clear, egregious, and ongoing violations. For example, statements made by Councillor Burkett at March 24th council meeting suggesting that residents should simply admit that they are anti-business rather than calling it a parking regulation or noise ordinance or whatever other silly policy we may want to come up with, unquote, would be humorous if they were not so deeply concerning. Such remarks raise serious questions about whether there is a fundamental misunderstanding of the role of local governance and that of an elected official or a deliberate effort to mischaracterize it. To our knowledge, there is not a single functioning municipality in New Mexico that did not utilize reasonable parking regulations and noise ordinances as basic tools to ensure livability and in order for residents and business operators.
Thank you, Brad. Next, Mandy.
Teresa Lopez.
A lot of stuff. Teresa Lopez, Wilfred St. Dallas. Thank you for letting me be here and speak without my stool. I have high shoes on. But anyway, I agree with Mr. Murray about the site plan. We always need a site plan for that place, and it was never done in all the past years. And it has nothing to do with the businesses in the area. It has everything to do with the legality, which brings up these three words again: transparency, honesty, and respect. This means these three words are for the village administration and the people that live, work, and have businesses here. And the ordinances that we have are definitely not silly. Many Correreños are pleased to know that the administration is in the process of working on the field, on Gonzalez Field. On another note, I'm going to have to kind of forget about this one too, because Gray took it, but I have to say a little bit about it. I have the new mayor, Fred Hashimoto, won by 896 votes or 62% and has been in office for 103 days. He needs to have his picture up there and the old mayor's picture taken down like 103 days ago. Again, we need to go get along and with transparency, honesty, and respect for everyone in this wonderful village of ours. Mike Herencia and many others also. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Next, Mandy.
Martin Biddle.
Good evening, council members, mayor, village administrator. My name is Martin Biddle. I reside at 717 Sierra Vista Road in Corrales. I also own and operate Tesuque Stucco Company at 4735 Corrales Road. To those residents that live behind me, for one, I certainly apologize for any, discrepancies that you may have with our operation. We're truly trying to do what we can to minimize our impact on the community. With that being said, the village and the mayor should know that we no longer use the ditch for a turnout. As a matter of fact, I've actually taken out what was potentially a local eyesore and put in a very expensive fence by a local builder named Jeff Barrows, for people who are familiar with Jeff. With that being said, that should hopefully alleviate some of the stress there on Pereira Road. To a larger extent, I would like to thank all of those people that came out to support Tesuque Stucco Company and the local businesses that operate here in Corrales. This is a fabric. It's a community that tends to support one another, and we're a part of it. Beyond that, I would like to also state that personally, running an operation or a business is a lot of hard work. And it's not easy what we do on a day-to-day business or basis rather. To a greater extent, local businesses do prop up the economy. They help spur many initiatives here in the community. And each and every one of us is, trying to do our best, to maybe a lesser extent. It's a privilege, not only to reside here in Corrales, but also to be propped up by people that visit our community. With that being said, I do appreciate your time and, thank you to all my residents that, support our operation.
That's it. Next, Mandy.
So Diego and or Kathleen Ortiz. I don't know.
Would you repeat that?
It
please?
says Diego and or Kathleen Ortiz. No? Okay. Salome Ward.
Hi, Salome Ward, East Meadowlark Lane. Hi, everybody. Thanks. I'll talk fast. I am concerned because it seems that there is a deliberate attempt to pit us against one another by framing some of our disagreements as either pro or anti-business, when this is not what this is about. It is about being good neighbors, and that also applies to our businesses, which are located in the neighborhood commercial zone. neighborhood commercial zone. It's a mixed-use district. The vast majority of our businesses are good neighbors, and they enrich our lives and provide vital services. To reduce legitimate concerns to an all or nothing dichotomy is a disservice to all of us. Let's be honest, this is a case of a few bad apples who are claiming that they are somehow exempt from complying with ordinances or fail to live up to their promise to have no negative impact on their surrounding neighbors. Some of these businesses are asking the village to play favorites and provide parking or to bend the rules for them regarding lighting, noise, or procedures. It should be the business's responsibility to properly plan for their own infrastructure and needs. Most importantly, they should be good neighbors. Not long ago, there was a mayoral election, which some of you may remember. Coraleños came out in force and overwhelmingly voted for the Keep It Corrales candidate. Mayor Hashimoto has a mandate from the residents to fulfill his campaign promises, which include protecting resident quality of life and the quiet enjoyment of their homes. Also, yes to local business and art, yes to transparent planning. At least one member of the council has claimed to not have received any messages regarding some of these issues, but I would argue that to ignore the election results is to ignore the will of the people. And for him to loudly accuse the mayor and concerned citizens who are exercising their rights to not want any businesses is dishonest, divisive, and damaging to the unity and common purpose of the village. We have more things in common than we don't, and that is what we need to remember, and we need to respect each other.
Thank you, Noah.
Oh, Margarita Sexton? No. No? Larry of 209 Hanson Road?
You didn't try Azevedo, did you?
I'm not sure I can spell it either.
Larry Azevedo, 209 Hanson Road. Stone's throw that way. Thank you, council, mayor, administrator, and all the participants this evening. Two quick items. First one is recycled asphalt paving. We went through a lot of these issues over on Andrews Lane 6-7 years ago, and I just really wanted to remind the council about the recycled asphalt paving, if there's any thoughts about putting it down in the future. I took some careful measurements back in 2019 on an 80-degree day with no clouds, and took some careful measurements of Andrews Lane dirt, which that day was 116 degrees, asphalt surface like La Entrada, which that day was 127 degrees surface temperature, and recycled asphalt as it had been laid down for a short time up by Price Lane and was going to be along Andrews. That temperature was 139 degrees. That temperature was enough to burn dogs' feet. So just want to remind all of you, if you're thinking about using any of that stuff again, to think of the consequences that will happen with regards to temperature. The other issue, just quality of life. Drive into Corrales on Corrales Road from Alameda. On the left side, you'll see a sign that says Horse Capital, New Mexico. White letters on a faded red background about that high. If you've got good eyesight, you can read it as you drive by. Just below it, there's a sign that says galleries, shops, restaurants, pubs, white letters on a black background, 3 times higher. Now, I am all for business. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dumping on pubs and restaurants, but is that consistent with our comprehensive plan? If you read it, you'll see what I mean. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Next, Mandy.
Patrick McClernand?
I think I'll submit my comments in writing in the interest of time.
Tyler Muxworthy?
Mayor and council, my name's Tyler Muxworthy and I live at 202 Pereira Road. First, I want to make a note that on a night where so many people came out to speak, the mayor has effectively cut our legs off and shortened our 3-minute speeches down to 2 minutes very conveniently. I've learned that progress here too often depends on who you know, not the issues itself. The information I'm sharing comes from IPR requests. Those records show that no documented opposition to paving Perea Road, yet the mayor says he knows people who oppose it. This is likely due to the behind the scenes meetings and conversation he has with his select group he deems worthy of his time. In the past, I could meet directly with the village mayor and council to raise these concerns. Under the current mayor, my requests for such meetings have been denied. After concerns were raised, a formal procedure was introduced requiring petitions and a scoring system to get a road paved. I support a fair, documented process. I recognize this new procedure is my only shot at having a fair chance to be heard. With that being said, I've followed the new process and I'm pleased to report that we have met more than 60% petition threshold required for Perea Road, and the formal request to have the road paved has been submitted. Currently, there are 3 roads on the ICIP list. 2 appear to have been advanced to shovel-ready status and seem to be funded. Now Perea Road is the only remaining ICIP project with a formal signed petition submitted. Simply put, there is no reasonable justification to not move this project forward today. If it is not advanced, it sends a clear message to the residents of the village that their voices and their efforts do not carry the same weight as they would if we were the friends of the mayor. Mayor, I ask again for fairness, transparency, and action. I'd also like to thank Tesuque Stucco for making efforts to jump through the hoops Corrales recently put in front of them. I provided ideas to the village and asked for them to communicate those ideas to help improve traffic flow over the road. Unfortunately, the village only listened to one person and my ideas were not conveyed to the
Thank you very much, Tyler.
council members. I now ask you to do everything you can to help us.
But I have never refused to meet with you or anybody else. Period. Next, Mandy.
Tessa Davidson.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm here actually.
Can you please state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry,
and
Tess
address?
Davidson, 132 Perea Road.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you. I was actually here to be a sweeper to address anything that came up that I felt like I should address, but I just really want to thank or express my gratitude to Ms. Robinson and the mural project. I think it's an amazing project. My daughters at Corrales Elementary participated in the art program every year it was offered. And I'm very excited to see that moving forward. There was a woman named Jane Dahlgren, who was a public school teacher in San Francisco that moved to Corrales, lived on Old Church, Felice Perea and Old Church. She gave free art lessons to the kids in the neighborhood. And she died a couple of years ago. And I know she is just right now so happy wherever she is to see this moving forward. And if there's any opportunity for private support for this project, I'd like to offer that. I also just want to say with regard to Gonzalez Field, I was at the hearing where the zoning was changed to municipal. And I think some of the confusion that's coming up right now is that at that hearing, for folks who participated in that zoning change, we were assured that there would be a site plan that would be coming in the future. And at the zoning change, lots of assurances were made that this is just a zoning change. This is not going to be approval for use of the property. So I think some of the confusion is coming from that. I think folks who are impacted by the use of that property expect a site plan process. And I would just ask that process proceed. So unfortunately, I think there's just some confusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Tessa. Next, Mandy.
That's all we have.
Thank you. Next item is a counselor's forum. This section is for informational purposes only, not for discussion and debate, to inform the governing body of an issue or concern that would not be addressed on the agenda during the business session. Any takers? Councilor Knight.
Thank you. I'll take my 2 minutes. I've had many jobs since I started working at 18. Once in college, I focused on my career and what I wanted to pursue. To get my degree, I had to pass subject test, then state test and national test to get my license. I'm not sure if probably most of you have had the same similar career path. As a speech pathologist, I had to take continuing education classes every year to keep up with research and new techniques. As a special ed head teacher, I had to coordinate other school systems, parents, and outside agencies to host meetings. During these meetings, with diverse socioeconomic individuals, discussions could become very intense. But not one time in all those years that I was working from 18 to now, have I ever been in a meeting where the participants said to one of the team meetings, to one of the team members, that you need to be fired. But now, as a Corrales Village counselor, I've heard it twice. This person needs to be fired. Wow. Take somebody's jobs away, someone's job away. What does that entail? The person loses income, insurance, a sense of pride, can't pay rent, gas, or electric, can't buy food, and pay taxes. When you're employed by the village, you have to be qualified for a specific job, then be trained in specific job activities in-house or from agencies throughout the state. Village employees come to work every day and do the best job they can for the village to succeed. New requirements come down from the state and the county that need to be incorporated into village ordinances. Our employees do that. They stay late, they come in early, they take calls on the weekends. I wouldn't think of ridiculing on anybody's job that I didn't know exactly what they did. But it seems these days it's okay to make statements or inferences that attack people. All I can say is that it's been done to me and it hurts. Maybe before people are happy to criticize, they need to make sure they have all the facts and that they think again before they're willing to say he or she needs to be fired. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel. Next, Councilor Holden.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Zoom meeting of the Community Environmental Working Group, CEWG, this afternoon. This was set up many years ago to monitor activities at Intel. Councilor Alsterbrook was part of the monitoring group for several years. They report only one anonymous complaint to the EPA in the past 6 months, which resulted in no action being necessary. There is a 24/7 number to report complaints of voters. The call goes to Intel's command center, and a team of first responders follows up. That number, I have that's 505-893-9904. Currently, there are 2,700 full-time employees and another 1,000 contractors and suppliers on their 218-acre campus. It was a good meeting. They're held about every 6 months or so, and open to anyone who wants to comment on the operations of Intel. But it was Frank, I can't remember his last name, who was the outreach person at Intel, who appeared before the council, offered again to become whatever we. Anyway, willing to come and bring before the council anytime we'd like to hear. So, thank you.
Councilor Murray.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two items. Just to remind council that Melanie sent out a notice that the CES evaluation has a chance to sign up. Tomorrow is the final date at 4 o'clock. If you want to volunteer, volunteer, folks, because I did. I'm probably stupid, but I did. So anyway, but it's a chance to look at the CES process, and I think it's worthwhile. So please consider it. They've got a list, but anyway, go for it. Also, this Friday, the MTP, the Metropolitan Transportation Board, will meet. We're going to look at updating the maps for the long-range planning. So I will report on that at next meeting.
Thank you. Councilor Burkett.
Thank you, Mayor. Two things for me as well. So one, just to follow up on Councilor Knight's situation. It is not unique to have the people that really run this village picked on a regular basis. And there's certainly scrutiny is welcome and probably due at some point in times. But I've heard from all the different heads, I think except two that I can think of, that they've had people say very offensive, very inappropriate, very uninformed things to them. And if people think that our fire chief, our police chief, our village administrator, our Parks and Rec, Public Works, planning and zoning, that if this village would function without the people we have in those positions, who I think are incredible for the size of village we have, they are sorely mistaken. And that doesn't mean that they don't do mistakes occasionally, but the way they are talked to is completely inappropriate by people who somehow feel emboldened to do so. So we need to make it clear that they're doing a job. They're doing a great job in my eyes. And if people want to raise concerns, we need to maybe create a process for that other than personal attacks, which has been done to many of them. The second thing, to clarify my silly policy comments, I do not believe that all noise ordinances or parking ordinances are silly. What I think is silly is having empty parking lots, and instead of utilizing them and putting down base course and letting people park to relieve traffic, that we want to put up no parking signs everywhere. What I think is silly is having a policy, like we had someone very pleasantly ring, I think, a Tibetan peace bell several meetings ago. It measured 63 decibels. That was a noise violation. I mean, it's insane that we want that to be the noise violation limit outside for a venue that has people talking. I mean, I was told that I couldn't mow my lawn without my neighbor's approval because the lawnmower was too loud. What I'm against is silly policies when we can make smart policies instead and use the resources that we have. So people that are pro silly policy, to me, they just don't want business. If you really want to solve the problem, use the resources we have. Let's solve the problems, but let's not make anti-business rules and pretend that we care about noise and parking.
Samira.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to thank all of you for showing up here. I know that we may have some differences of opinion, but you all showed up here tonight, and that's really good idea for you to come here and speak your person. And we were here to listen. So thank you very much for all of you being here and filling up the hall. So the next thing is we're probably going to need to build a bigger one. No, take that back. That's not what I was going to say. But I did want to say thank you. But also, if you can remember, I think the first motion I made when I came in was that what we need to do is we're buying these properties, and we were very concerned about the monies we were spending, millions of dollars, and we hadn't spent that kind of money at one time. And I think my motion still sits. What we needed to do was see how all of these properties worked together, not individually. And we're kind of still in that part of still doing this one individually and that one individually. Not that we shouldn't or couldn't, but we should see how they worked together. And that will really help, because another piece of property is going to come up this year or sometime soon, and we're going to want to buy one. And that idea still needs to fit. It might be way at the other end, but they need to work together. And with that, I think we have people that really need to say, okay, if the bottom line is, in the end, we need to set the example of do what we would want anybody else to do, and then follow through with that. And I think that's what's expected. That's what I've heard tonight, that we're going to need to follow through and go to make the appropriate paperwork to make sure that those three are not only going to be legal, but how they work together is going to be the next particular issue. Make sure that they continue to do that. So thank you.
Any other councilors who would like to speak? Okay, well, moving on. May I have a motion, please, to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just
Councilor Woolman.
Just a quick question on the bar. An increase of 102,000 for the library bond for 26-28. Is that to expend the money received from the bond? Is that just a transfer of funds? Thank you.
Any other discussion on the consent agenda? So there's been a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Councilor Murray.
Because we got resolutions, we got to do a voice vote.
Is it a resolution, the consent agenda?
Yeah, bar.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're gonna do a vote by per council. Then Councilor Muir, how do you vote?
Yes, sir.
Councilor Woolman?
Aye.
Councilor Knight?
Aye.
Councilor Burkett?
Aye.
Councilor Murray?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Consent agenda is approved. New business, number 1, consideration, action, and approval of resolution 2614, acceptance and approval of the FY 2025 audit.
Yeah, old business
Really?
first.
It's old business, okay. May I have, I'm sorry, this is old business. May I have a motion to approve this item, please?
Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Since this is old business, I'm looking over at our attorney right now. Were we waiting to rewrite this in such a manner that that this old business just time got the best of us last time?
You guys postponed it for time last time.
Not because if there was anything else that needed to be done.
No, you postponed 2 items last meeting. One was the rewriting the ordinance for the traffic sign or the no parking signs. And that one is going to come back June 9th for being
Okay.
rewritten. This one was just
That's the one that needed the writing. That's what I was thinking.
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Good, but I like.
Okay, any other discussion?
So I have some questions.
Yes, Councilor Burkett.
Thank you, Mayor. So on the scoring system, I'm unclear if the scores are an all or nothing score or if they're a scale. And if they are a scale, do we have definitions for what a 1 looks like, what a 2 looks like, what a 3 looks like? Because, well, and I'm not sure how you would have a scale for location of road. I guess it could be traffic count, but volume of road traffic. It seems like instead of a 0 or a 5, we should have a 1 through a 5 scale.
Yeah, I think that was the idea that it would be a maximum of 5 points and it would be ranked. And it would be done at the discretion of the village engineer and the public works director. So I do believe that they have the skills necessary to make those judgment calls on how to make those assessments.
Okay, and then my next question is, this would then determine based off of ranking from highest to lowest, where we rank the road projects specifically on our ICIP list, noting that still the people that give us money ultimately make the decision, but we would rank them based off of how they score on this scoring system.
Right, and they wouldn't necessarily have to go on the ICIP list, but Steve Lescu and I spoke about creating a roads priority list where he would present to the council for your review a list at the same time that the ICIP list is approved, so you could see what the road rankings are based on these criteria.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments?
Thank you, Councilor Burkett, on that, on your question. I think my question there is, when you mentioned the word engineer, I always figured that was for just paving and not necessarily for maintenance procedures. So the list that he was talking about, would the engineer need to get involved in that particular with maintenance or just with the paving part?
I think it would depend on what kind of maintenance needs to be done. Probably not for most maintenance projects. Most maintenance projects are probably going to be grading the road, filling potholes, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, if it's something that there's a serious issue that he needs to get involved in, he could be brought in.
Okay.
Councilor Murray.
Thank you. So I guess my concern is one of them is that most of our funding for our paving projects come through 2 projects, either from the DOT or the MAP or the local government fund.
For our bonds.
Yeah. So why does it have to go on the ICIP list? Maybe why we should just have a separate list for that and then let the funding come through wherever the government provides for us.
I mean, it's, council is the approver of the ICIP list. But, for example, we did get money this year for both Coronado and Reclining Acres from capital outlay because these projects were on our ICIP
Yes,
list.
but we also had bond money too.
No, the bond money hasn't been sold yet.
Okay. I mean, it is coming up though.
It is coming up. Yes,
But that would also help fund those projects. Is it?
it could. Yes.
Okay. And I also want to make sure that if a road is not paved, at least it's maintained with a, blading, because I've got a dirt road beside my house that I don't think it's seen a road grader in 10 years. Now, it's not a bad road, It's a good road. And it works very well during the rain because it collects water and it drains out. But anyway, I want to make sure that the dirt roads are maintained as well.
Yeah, and I do believe that Steve provides you a list of roads that have been graded when he does his monthly report, when he does the grading in the summertime.
Then also, I guess the other part I have is crack sealing. We need some mechanism by where the roads are maintained that way, because if you went up into Rio Rancho, and if you've driven some of those local roadways, especially like going over here to where Garduño's and Chili's is at, it's like driving through the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
So let's make sure that we don't let our roads get to that point, because they do need to be crack sealed, and that will help prevent that.
Yeah, and we do have a crack sealer now. We did purchase that this year, so that's why it's been removed from the ICIP list. Is we did purchase that.
Councilor Burkett.
One other question that I thought was interesting. So in the request to get 60% of the residents sign, we specifically say residents who don't live on the road, but that branch off that road do not count. Which, I mean, from both sides of the equation is maybe a pro, maybe a con, because it lowers your threshold to get to 60%, but it also eliminates the opinion of people who use those roads on a daily basis to get to their road. What was the thought process in putting
So
that in there?
there were two things there. I did talk to a former administrator who was administrator in the early 2000s, 2010. And they said that used to be the policy, was that you had to have 50, I think at the time it was 50% of the residents had to sign a petition saying they wanted their road paved. And so we thought, 50% can be a little iffy. It should probably be a clear majority. So that's why we chose 60. And it does say that residents not having a driveway directly on the road, their opinion will still be considered. But the main 60% has to be people who live on the road, because personally, I didn't think it was fair that if, there's 8 people that live on the road and none of those people want that road paved, but the people around them want it paved, then that's not really fair, because they're not the ones whose driveway is off the road. So that's why it was, they would get a slightly higher consideration. But, in terms of, as Mr. Muxworthy said, he did submit an application following these new procedures just this afternoon. It came in late in the day this afternoon. And if you look at his petition, more than 60% of the people who live on Perea Road have said, yes, we want it paved. And then if you look at the map that he's provided us, people around the area also want it paved. So yes, that to me, that demonstrates that there is a majority of people living in that area who utilize that road that would like to see it paved.
And also historically, even if one wanted a speed bump in the road, we were told you need a majority of residents who live on that road to sign a petition asking for that.
And these
just going to bring that part up because I think you and I discussed that, and that makes so much more sense. I had to deal with that in Bernalillo County, but it's the people that really were the speed humps in front of their house, and when a big tractor or whatever runs over it, that house moves and shakes, and I mean it's all over it. Sometimes they even crack, but the ones around it all want it, but they're not having to deal with the actual hump. So it makes sense, and I'm glad we're staying within the realm of the significance of doing it the same way for everybody.
Yeah. And also these were based on road paving procedures from other municipalities. So I looked at Rio Rancho, I looked at Albuquerque, I looked at I think it was Edgewood had just recently within the last 6 months adopted. They recently bought their own road paving machine, and so they had to adopt policies of how they would pave the roads, and they have a lot of unpaved roads as well. So that's I kind of borrowed from their procedures heavily as well. So and all of these are on their websites. I would like to put, if this gets approved tonight, I would also like this on our website so it's clear to the residents. This is what the procedure is. This is how you get it done.
Councilor Murray.
Thank you, Mayor. So along those lines, Councilor Muir, I also am a little worried too with speed humps that first responders, especially with our fire department, with a heavy truck like that going over a speed bump, it needs to be such that it has minimal impact on our first responders as they come around.
I don't think these procedures specifically mention speed humps, but that's something in the past that has
is that something that we need to throw into this mix? Is because if you're going to pave a road and if people want a speed hump, or a speed table or whatever, maybe that should be a part of the process.
It is something that we could, if you wanted to approve it tonight, we could look at amending it down the road and adding to.
And I think also number 2 is health and safety considerations. I mean, that has to do with access of emergency vehicles. And if that's the issue, well, no, you can't have a speed bump there. I just gave the example just to say that, well, if you want an alteration in your road, that a majority of people who live on the road had to agree. But yeah, speed bumps, I think, are a different issue. But I think it qualifies here under emergency vehicles and safety.
Mayor, May Chief Martinez?
Yes, Chief.
Mayor, Administrator, Council. I just like to add that Mr. Lesku and I are currently working on trying to evaluate some of the speed humps because of the public safety issue with our heavy trucks. And we've talked about standardization of humps, bumps, and tables, whatever classification they might be in, but also adequate either signs, little bumps to alert you, and painting periodically. So we could maybe possibly incorporate that into this as well. So, yeah.
As an amendment.
Yeah, that's the beauty of something like this, is it is relatively easily amendable because it's adopted by a resolution, so we can come in and make changes as requested.
Councilor Knight.
Yeah, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble here, but so is the Berea Road, say, or another road going to be on the ICIP list, or are we going to put it on a different list? Because at this point, the roads have always been on the ICIP list, and they've had to go up the from like 30 to 22 and then 15. And so it's not going to happen right away. And that would be great if we could do it right away, but I'm just hoping that people realize it's going to have to come when it comes, when the money's there, and there's other things before it too sometimes. So we're going to have to all take that into consideration when we, pave roads or whatever.
And that's why we wanted to have a list of road priorities, so we could see, we'll use these rankings, and then everybody can see, it'll be, very transparent that, this is the list, this is how they've ranked, these are the roads most in need. And then, perhaps it could be, what maybe roads 1 and 2 on that list are the ones that go on the ICIP. That's a council decision from year to year. But we would like to be providing the council with a list of the roads ranked by Public Works and the village engineer that you could then look at adding to the ICIP list.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that because it's, it may not get on right away, but.
Right. But I know this isn't quite, we aren't quite there yet, but on the ICIP list, I didn't recommend removing paving Perea Road yet because it was added by council last year. So that's something that can come up when we get to that part of the evening's discussion.
Any other discussion? Councilor Murray.
Just one other comment, that in the past, the roads used to be on a list. And if you wanted a road paved, you just got on the list and it was first come, first served, basically. I'm a little worried that if we put it on an ICPI list and we rank these things, some roads are going to get down on the bottom because some people want other roads paved. I'm just a little concerned about putting it on the ICIP. If we rank these things and it changes from year to year, we're not gaining anything.
Do you want to add a section where length of time on the list would be a factor?
I don't know. It seems like that, if a road comes in wanting to be paved, it just gets on the list and it falls, according to wherever it is. Ranking these, obviously we've been working on Coronado and Reclining Acres for a while, and they're coming up. So it looks like the funding may be coming up around and supporting that. But we can't have, say, if Perea Road comes on the list, and then I come down and I want to put my road on the list, which is already paved, but I say, hey, I think I deserve that first. It's not right to how we rank these things. It's just wherever they come in on the list, put them in, and they'll just fall down through the list. And then as the roads get paved, they come off and they bubble up. It's just, I don't know. I just have a problem with putting them on the ICIP because, like all things, some things may not get paid for 20 years.
Yeah, I don't think, this is directly related to ICIP. ICIP is going to be discussed a little later. This is just criterion for paving or repaving a road.
Well, I understand that, but I see Perea Road and, we got Reclining Acres and Coronado on the ICIP list. They probably don't belong there. They just probably need to be on the list. Coronado, Reclining are top two. Perea comes in number 3. We get the other 2 done. Perea bubbles up to the top. That's how that's how we ought to do it. I'd rather not have any rankings because, we all have our proclivities about where we see things. So I don't know. It's just a comment.
Yeah, but also I think if the rainy season ever comes and we have roads that get washed out, perhaps they would leapfrog over roads that are more stable. So I think that engineering, public health, public safety are important as far as criterion and ranking.
No, point
But
taken.
anyway, Councilor Bouquet.
Yeah, so this concept of how long they've been on the list, either being a measurable data point, which I think is maybe one way to do it, but I do also think about for things that have been on the list for a long time, this ranking, does it something we re-rank them annually? Because a road is going to change a lot. And so I think we need to have that in there. So something that ranked 45 or whatever random number, if it jumps to 70, it shouldn't sit on the list for 20 years as a 45 with other things that are 50 passing it. So
Yeah, I do think that was sort of the idea that we would present a new list to council every single year.
Okay.
And we would go out and reevaluate roads that are on the list. Sorry, Steve, I'm I'm volunteering you for extra work.
Any other discussion?
I think Steve has something to say.
Just raise your hand, Steve.
Sorry, Steve. I just thought I could feel
No,
that
you're good. Mayor, councilors. No, it doesn't make sense to me to put it on a list of first come, first serve because the need for the roads to be paved changes. The flooding issues, the condition of the roads. I mean, this is not an ideal thing, but you could put Meadowlark on the list. And would that be the first one? Because it was the next one on the list. So it's gotta go by a ranking. It's gotta have some kind of score to prioritize it. That's just what I think.
That's all this is. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
Any other comments? So we have a motion and a second for. May I have a motion for old business consideration, action, and approval of resolution 2616, adopting a road paving, repair, and maintenance procedures policy for the village of Corrales. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Pick your favorite.
Roll call vote. Councilor Miera.
Yes, sir.
Councilor Oldman.
Aye.
Councilor Knight.
Aye.
Councilor Burkett.
Aye.
Councilor Murray.
Yes.
Great. New business. Number 1, consideration, action, and approval of resolution 2618, a resolution authorizing an election for adoption of municipal police member coverage plan 5. Now, we talked about combining number 1, number 2, because one is for police and the other is for fire. And so why don't we just combine those two so we don't have to, the verbiage is the same.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolutions 2618 and 2619 together as one item.
Any second?
Second.
Any discussion on this? Like in any discussion, let's
Just
have
ask
a
a
roll
quick
call vote.
question.
Yes, Councilor.
I think I know the answer to this, but do the police chief or fire chief in any way oppose to this change since it affects your staffs? This is what you guys are requesting?
Who's going to make it to the microphone first?
You got him out of the grave.
Councilor Burkett, Mayor and Council, no objections. And it's not going to do the fire chief or I any good. We're too far along, but we believe it's going to help with recruiting and retention for newer officers coming in. It's an enhanced plan. It essentially gives you 3.5% of your gross salary credit per year versus 2.5. So if somebody were to come here and stay 20 years, they could retire at 70% salary, which is a really great perk. It's good.
Great.
But thank you.
Yep.
Councillor Murray?
You know, my other question, I mean, it's not for the chief or either chief, but it's for budget. Is this, how much does this increase our budget or doesn't it?
So if council remembers, we actually wrote this into this current fiscal year's budget. So we already have this included in this year's budget because we've been working on this since October, and we've been the people at Para dropped the ball, and they apologized to us immensely for they had written us an approval letter to move forward with this back in February, and then they never sent the email. So this was already in motion, so it won't affect the budget because we've already budgeted for it. And just a reminder to council, since you brought up the budget, one other resolution that will be coming forward in the coming months is a pickup of members' para contributions, and that's already been budgeted for this year as well. So it'll be included in next year's budget. And none of this will be able to take effect until the first full pay period in August. So it'll be the next fiscal year. But yes, we'd already budgeted for it this year.
Chief?
Mayor, Administrator, Councilors, thank you. I just before you vote, I just want to say thanks to the previous administration and you, the current administration. This has been an ongoing deal since about, I think, 2007. The whereas didn't say where and when it started, but I could tell you I was here, the police chief was here. This is about the staff that serves this community. And I can see that I have some of my members online. Chief has officers here in presence. This is very important. And it's taken, doing the math, that's like 19 years. And we couldn't adopt and go into para 100% at para step 5, or else the chief and I probably wouldn't be here before you talking about this. We'd be retired. But this is about the future, and some things just take a little while, but persistence really pays off. And with the support of you, I know budgets are hard, and it's taken us this long to be here. And so we're very proud. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this? In discussion, we'll go to a roll call vote to approve items number 1 and 2. Councilor Mira?
Yes, sir.
Councilor Roseman?
Aye.
Councilor Knight?
Yes.
Councilor Burkett?
Yes.
Councilor Murray?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item, number 3, consideration, action and approval of a conservation easement option to purchase agreement between NACA Inspired Schools Network and the Village of Corrales. May I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Councilor Murray?
I don't know if this is number 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 I have a question on. Well, all right. So this is on the contract that we saw in the application. Okay. So if a person were to foreclose, or if a person who owned conservation easement had to foreclose on their property, or somebody foreclosed on their property, how would that impact the conservation easement?
The conservation easement is in perpetuity, so it has nothing to do with the sale or foreclosure, as I understand it. So that conservation easement stays on the property regardless of what happens to it.
There was something else too. We got to see if I can find it real quick. Hold this.
Yeah.
I have some.
Shoot. Yeah, it had to do, I think it was on page 67, about termination, about condemnation. Not that it's going to happen within the village, you know, if the property were condemned, but I mean, there's a lot of empty spaces in this, and I suppose it is going to come back to us again with these blanks filled in. Is that correct or not?
Well, if I may, Councilor Murray, Councilors Mayor, this is what we're doing tonight. What's before you is the option to purchase agreement. So that means the appraisal will be completed, and then it will be determined at that point whether we accept the option to purchase based on the appraisal. So this isn't the deed itself that's being voted on tonight. The deed is just attached as an exhibit.
Okay.
That will come back to you at a later date.
But it will have all the blanks filled in and so forth, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, thank you very much.
This is just the conservation.
And it does look like the condemnation has to do with before all of this takes effect.
Okay.
Councilor Waldman and Councilor Mira.
Yeah, just a minor point on page 74, the document lists James F. Fahey, mayor. So you might want to take a look at that to change that.
You're still awake?
Yep, we will fix that. Yeah, because they started this. Yeah,
Yeah,
we will make sure that that
Right.
gets changed.
Thank you.
Thank you for catching that.
Yep.
Councilor Mira.
Nope, that was,
Okay.
it was just that, what we're just doing tonight is just the conservation part.
Right.
Not until we get that sale bar.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, and Michael Cisco was not able to be here tonight, but yeah, this is for the Tricello property, just to be clear. So
Councilor Burkett.
Two quick questions. So the floor price that is in the purchase terms, is that dictated by the property owner?
it was actually decided on. It was a recommendation from Michael Cisco with the approval of the village. So basically, if the appraisal comes in under that, they have the right to walk away.
Okay. And then second question is, are we requiring viewing decks? Because we got good, because I mean,
Not this time around.
Okay, perfect. Because I noticed it wasn't on the map, and I'm not sure they add a ton of value to our current conservation easements, but it was a hoop we had to make.
No,
a jump
and with the Tricello property, they already do so much for the community. I think they already have the that sort of public what's the word I'm looking for? The public good covered. But no, this time around, instead of bird viewing properties, we had talked about other things that they could do, such as maybe providing an easement for a fire hydrant on their property, or a turnaround, or a place for people to gather, or place their animals in case of an emergency, things like that that are in the public good that are not necessarily the bird viewing stations.
Councilor Burkett, so those viewing areas are considered, that's okay on the easements.
Yeah, that was written into the contracts for the last three properties that we did with the last time around.
I was asking, 'cause you kept track of that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Liking any, may I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Good. Item number 4, discussion on farmland easements and direction for next steps on option agreements.
And again, Michael Cisco would have been the one talking to you, but he wasn't able to be here tonight. So I did just want the council to be aware that property number 2 has bowed out. They decided not to move forward with the process. Yeah, that was the Evelyn Losack Orchard property. Yeah. So they wanted a little more flexibility for their heirs down the road. So they've chosen not to move forward at this time. So I know council had previously given Michael direction to just proceed with items 1 and 2. And then if there was money or something fell through, we could proceed with the others. So I just wanted to make sure that council's still good with him moving on to item property number 3. If they don't want to move forward, we'll move to 4 and then to 5.
I mean, I think that was from our last conversation, our hope that we would go from top to bottom. And
Yes.
So, yeah, I think that's appropriate.
Yeah. Okay. Then
So we can
3 is the property on Corrales Road across from the Montessori School, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that right, Sam and Isabella?
Right.
Thank you.
I still have some
Sounds so
concerns
nice.
about there not having any water. I mean, they said, well, we can bring water up there, but it right now, it just looks like dust and dirt.
Yeah. I think, from what Michael had said, I do believe water exists on the overall property. But again, I'm not totally sure on that, but I do believe that's part of the easement agreement in terms of what's necessary from the New Mexico Land Conservancy's point of view. So if they don't have any water tied to that piece of property, they wouldn't be able to move forward with the easement, is my understanding.
Sale sign.
I believe it's our understanding it's for the property just behind the acreage behind that front part. But again, I don't have confirmation on that. That's just what I have heard. So
And so we'll put this on a future agenda when Mr.
So-
Cisco can be here.
Well, Michael will move forward if it's all right with the, he'll move on to property number 3 and see if they're interested in doing an option agreement. If they're not, he'll move on to property number 4 and then property number 5. And then he'll give us an update once he's reached out to all the property owners.
Okay, moving right along, item number 5, ICIP discussion. We've had some already.
Yeah.
Counselor Murray.
Thank you. So refresh my memory about number 29, the wastewater collection at $16 million, that we have $2 million. Is that, again, is that the step or is that a village-wide collection system?
So I think when we put it on there, it was if we needed to expand out from the current system. And you know, when we hired Stantec to do the wastewater design for us, you know, the suggestion had been that we plan ahead, look at the future, and that's where the village-wide idea came in. So that obviously 16 million is not going to get us coverage for the entire village.
Oh, especially when it came in at 100 million or, you know, plus.
Yeah.
But I would suggest that we yellow that one particular item to go along with the other yellow.
Well, we do have federal funding to build the bypass. So we could change this to wastewater bypass because I don't know if that the money from Melanie Stansberry is going to be enough to complete the bypass. So it might need to stay on our current ICIP to be able to get funding for
I
other.
would support then we change that to a bypass rather than.
Right, because actually we're starting to do water quality testing on the village wells as a first step in seeing if there is a water quality issue, at least in our 12 wells, and maybe expand that to more wells in the village in the future to try to find out if there's a problem, and if there is, where is it? And so, yeah, we don't have a big plan for a village-wide water system.
So with the items that are striked out, are they going to, is the rest of the list going to bubble to the top then? Is that the idea?
So you'll get a list once we have this discussion tonight. If you agree with everything that's been struck and everything that has been suggested to move to a separate list, then you'll get 2 separate lists. That'll be the 2028 to 2032 ICIP that goes to the state, and then the separate list with the 2032 to 2042 projects, and then you'll rank those.
So will the Academy Drive repave, is that going to wind up on the ICIP?
That's what we're requesting. So the items down here at the bottom, those are requests from department heads. Every year we give you requests from the department heads for new items to be added. So the new items requested this year was adding repaving of Academy Road, buying a striping machine. Although, did you decide that you do indeed want that, Steve? Okay. Chimaha Road being paved. And then we just added in new vehicle purchases. The trucks for animal services might need to be replaced in the next couple of years. And just for fleet maintenance, we don't really have anything. We have vehicles for the police department, and we've been, our state representatives have been very generous, giving us money every year for
Since
vehicles
we've
for
just
PD.
passed the repaving or the paving roads process, should we not have Academy and Chimia scored? I mean, doesn't that make sense now that rather than having department heads say, we want these roads done, now let's go ahead and do the process and have them scored? I mean,
yeah,
I
sounds good.
So
Yeah.
now we can do it.
Yes, yeah, now we have those, so yes, we could
Good
totally
point,
do
yeah.
that. And like I said, Steve and I talked just today about getting a list together that would be presented to you along with these, when you're ready to do the final list approval.
well,
So you'll see that ranking.
so here's another complaint that I have. I put money in to the budget to have, I think it was Angel Road striped. Has it been done? Or have we done that? Why not? Don't sit there and shake your head.
I
Just
know,
tell me.
I don't have a good answer for you
Well,
tonight.
because I've been asking for that, for a couple of years now. We repaved that road a couple of years ago and it was never striped. why can't we get it done? I mean, if the contractor and if I budgeted money for that in the budget based on Michael's previous suggestion on monies, let's get a contractor and get it done. I mean, those folks need that. I think they could use that. It'd be nice. You know, I think we ought to do something for them, you know, since they've been waiting for a couple of years to get that striped off.
Well, we'll look into that for sure.
Counselor Knight and Counselor Burkett.
I was just gonna ask, Counselor Murray, are you like on board with this now? Because like 2 sessions ago, you said it was a joke.
Well, it's still a joke. Yes. I mean,
So you are on board with?
I mean, do I have a choice?
I guess.
No, I don't think so because I'll probably get outvoted because 4 to 5 to 1, you know, so do I care? Look, it is a joke. I mean, basically to me, it is a joke, but I mean, if it's the way it is, I'll have to accept it. I'm sorry. I mean, you're right. In some respects there, Counselor Knight, but if that's the process, I have to accept it.
Counselor Burkett.
So so the things highlighted in yellow are things we want to move to the long-term
Yes.
list?
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, these are just suggestions. It's your call as council. If you want any of these left on the ICIP, let me know and we'll leave them on there. If there's anything else on there that you want to move to a long-term list.
Okay.
this is
I
the
mean,
time.
I would like the Corrals pathway to stay closer because I think we've made good progress with DOT on that. And I think it would be remiss to push that back 6 years. I like the 4th time rebranded multi-generational community center that's on here. I still think there's a need for some version of that and clearly a different version than what was presented initially. Again, I don't think that needs to, I mean, I was hoping my kids would at some point get to use that. Now, hopefully grandkids at some point will get to use that. I'm not super optimistic. Everything redlined, how many of those are completed projects versus projects that are just being removed for one reason or another?
Let's see, Coronado Road, we have at least some funding for. Reclining Acres, we have at least some funding for. And if we don't get the MAP or DOT funding, we'll be able to use bond proceeds because the 800,000 remaining from the bond approved by voters will get sold this year. So we will have funds to complete those projects. So they're being removed because they're being funded and they're going to be completed.
Okay.
Air conditioning from the old church, that was completed. The Applewood Crossing emergency egress, that was completed. The Corrales interior drain improvements was removed based on community feedback.
Well-
Now, if you want to leave that on there and move it to a long term,
So I went on a long walk, and I mean, there's certainly resistance to the plan that was presented, and I share that resistance. I think there's interest in finding something to do, but I'm curious why that was removed from the list because it was ranked number 10 last year. And in this new radical world of transparency that we're apparently living in, I would love to know why that was taken off the list. Because it's surprising to me that a small group of local residents, and I mean, they certainly need to be put into it. I mean, and their opinion needs to be valued, but I'm glad the people next to the soccer fields didn't all get together and say, hey, we don't want anywhere for the kids to play, or the people next to the equestrian center didn't all get together and say, we don't think the horses need a place to run around. I think we have to represent everybody in the village, including the people directly adjacent to the property, and they don't feel like they were heard in the previous version, and I think they need to be heard. Absolutely. So hopefully that happens, and we can come to some sort of agreement to get it up to standards for emergency vehicles, for ways to decrease road traffic on there to make it safer for kids to walk up and down that pathway. I don't think anybody wants to turn it into a regional destination, but I do think there are things that need to be done on there, and I'm very concerned that it was unilaterally removed from the list.
well, I will take responsibility on that one, Counselor. I suggested that we removed it based on community feedback from the people that do live on there. And then also I went back and I looked at the minutes from the meeting after Amy Bell had presented the plan for this. And a couple of council members all said, this does not meet with the feeling of
And
Corral.
I agree with that. That
Yeah.
version, I agree. I mean,
So,
I
so
think-
I will take ownership of that one. And these are just suggestions. These
Yep.
were not, in any way, shape or form. So if you want to leave it on there or move it to the long term,
Okay,
that's
yeah,
what this
I would like to
discussion
leave it
is.
on there on and then what about Bosque access improvements?
We got that 150,000
So those
fully
are
funded.
fully funded?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fully funded. We purchased the crack sealer. The police chief recommended that we remove vehicles and equipment for the police department because we got that full 200,000 this year. That's not to say he won't ask to add it back on at a future ICIP, but we're good for this year. The Bosque access improvements we got. The fire infotech upgrades, I believe that's been funded. We purchased the mini hydraulic excavator and we purchased the compact track loader. So the majority of those are because they were either funded and they're ready to go or they were purchased.
Thank you.
Yes. And is the rest of council good with leaving the interior drain improvements on this current list? Okay.
Yeah, I think the issue I have is that anyway, I want to make sure everybody's on board, with whatever we do. But yes, I understand, they don't want it touched, but we've got to maintain it. So that's where I think we're going to have some funding at budget time to help clean that up, determine the crossover points, the culverts, have them cleaned up as well, determine who's public, who's private. And if they're private crossovers, then they need to take responsibility for making sure that's cleaned out as well. So we have to maintain that according to the agreement we have with the BLM. So that's why I'm going to say, when it comes budget, we need to put some money in there and get that north end cleaned up, and so we don't have a big.
Is council okay with changing the title of that to interior drain maintenance and improvements?
That works for me. I mean, it's reasonable.
Yeah.
Maybe it might not draw so much of a bad connotation.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, improvements does have the connotation to it that we're going to, make this grand park or whatever. And, I don't think that was ever anybody's intention. It was more, we need a place for the bicyclists, equestrians and pedestrians to be able to access that safely. It's not a very highly trafficked area. Lori and I walk the interior drain almost every day, at least a part of it. And, we almost never have a car come up on us, but, there are some improvements that could be made and making those a better route for non-motorized use as our representative from the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee put it.
Mayor, I have another question if you don't mind. So for the Gonzalez and Anderson projects, who came up with these numbers? The 280,000 for the Anderson property and $500,000 for the Gonzalez.
It was sort of
Is it swag?
no, I mean, I think we kind of sat down. The numbers did come from the previous administration because this is last year's list. And it was just, if we need to do put down base course and fencing and, kind of looking at what all we need.
Does that impede the ability for us to get funding?
No, not necessarily, because when we actually add it to the ICIP, what we can do is there's a little box you can check that says, can this project be phased? And if you say yes, then it'll say, how much do you want for phase one? How much do you want for phase two? And so, this would be, if we did everything that we ever wanted to do on this property, this is probably how much it would cost. But right now for, say, the Anderson property, we want to buy, base course and crusher fines to be able to improve the area for parking. We want to put up a fence. This is all getting ready for a site improvement plan or a site development plan that will be coming before you here soon. So, it's not going to be as much as if we did, putting a building on there or something like that.
Okay. And that is probably along the lines of the municipal parking facilities too, 1.1 million.
Yeah, that's for this administration parking lot. And, the original quote on that was between 600,000 and 700,000, but that was back before COVID. And then during COVID, As everybody knows, all the construction costs skyrocketed. And so then our last estimate from our designer was over $2 million. And so we sat down on the list and we sat down with Public Works and said, how much of this can you do? And we actually got it down to what we need to hire outside construction contractors for is about 1.1 million to be able to redesign this
Yeah, but
parking
doesn't
lot
that
out there.
require a new site development plan?
It will, because we had a site development plan that has now expired. So we'll have to go back and get that either renewed or basically start from scratch, because yes, our site development plan has expired.
Councilor Woman?
Yes, thank you. We had an email exchange about this, but there's virtually nothing on here that really is shovel ready, except for those that say purchase.
Right. Yeah.
And most of which, of course, is for the fire department,
Right.
as it always is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because we don't have a design for Perea Road yet. We have
The pathway says it's shovel ready.
we do have phase one is shovel ready, and I think I got hired in October, and the following January, Ron Curry took me out to Ex Novo, and we were standing on the side of Corrales Road with plans with Steve Grohlman, our village engineer, and we were looking at it, and we thought we were going to break ground in the next 2 weeks on the park. And then DOT stepped in and went, no, you're not ready for this yet. So we do have plans that are ready to go if DOT ever. And right now, what's kind of holding that up is they want some sort of delineation between Corrales Road and that pathway, because somebody on their phone looking down at the phone could drift off and run over a pedestrian on that. So we need something. We need either little bumps. Nobody wants the rumble strips, because if you live near that, unless it makes the pretty noise like on Route 66 or wherever that is, I don't even think anybody would want that, at 2 a.m. hearing, I'm a little teapot or something. I don't know, but yeah. Old MacDonald had a farm, maybe. But no, so that's currently what we're doing. And DOT was supposed to send us their latest safety recommendations so we could take a look at, I think we already kind of determined that nobody wants the bollards. I think we all remember Amy Bell coming in with her bollard. So we've already determined we don't want those. So we have to figure out what kind of delineation we will have to provide a safe place for people to walk.
So for those things that are purchased, for example, that are in the fire department, are they ranked by your priorities as well?
These were your rankings. So yeah.
Not
their rankings. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want them to rank anything on the ICIP? Could you and Tanya work on that if I give you the list?
Necessarily, but could you, because there are several items on here that say for purchase for any number of things for the fire department. So if we could have your priority list of the things that are, and are there other things that are not on here? If this is last year's list?
Yeah, Mayor, Councilor. So we reviewed the list and everything seems concurrent. Our fire suppression village-wide system, as you all know, that, now that we're progressing, citizens want to see me go back to Loma Larga and continue south. So we have a lot of demand. And those are shovel ready along Loma Larga. We just need funds to start extending. Some of these other items, I'd be happy to prioritize, but as you know, I've been asking for, grants and capital outlay for water. I haven't been trying to replace some of my aging equipment, remodeling the station at Station 1. It was built in 97. We're starting to see some wear and tear. We need to get, absolutely. I'd be happy to do that though. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah.
I thought the department heads did give lists.
So they did take a look at this, but they don't rank the projects. So
the only ones who rank are us.
council. Yeah. But I think that's a good idea, especially for the fire department, so that kind of where their needs are. Because like Chief said, Fire Station 1 was built a long time ago. It wasn't built for 24/7 use, and so their bathrooms need to be updated and things like that. So
And so plan is to come up with an updated list then?
So yeah, so what we will do is, I will take this list, I will remove the things that are redlined. I'll change the things that you've requested to stay on the list, and then I'll present you with two separate lists. One will be the ICIP list that will be actually approved by a resolution and go to the state. And then the second one will be a long-term ICIP that we will keep. And then each one of those lists will come before council every year during the ICIP process. So you can take a look at the long-term list and say, well, hey, we suddenly got, somebody died and left their estate to the village, and we now have $10 billion, and so we could take some of those projects and move them over. So that, this is the time of year to do all that. And so we'll bring it back again at the next meeting for probably another discussion. So you'll probably see ICIP discussions on the next couple of council meetings. And this needs to be approved by the first meeting in June. So that gives us time to put everything in, and it's due to the state by July 1st.
Okay.
That's your new finance director working out.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing. And Albert, our new AP specialist, started on Monday. He's doing a great job. They're going to be an excellent team. I'm very excited for our finance stuff. So.
Okay, may I have a motion to go into closed session for the discussion of the purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property or water rights by the public body? May I have a motion to go into closed session, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Go ahead.
Can we take a 30-second break before we start it?
Yes. Well,
Please. and
well,
keep-
we need a vote, I guess, to go into
Yeah,
closed session.
yeah.
Hey,
You-
Zach, we need
wait.
a vote to go into
Yep.
closed session.
You can do a voice vote.
Yeah.
Let's have a vote first. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. You can take a 30-second.
I'm not making time.
Figure it out. Yeah.
We need an audience. We need an audience for that.
I think Bill Holman did.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay.
Right, thank you.
Would you be willing to help with the?
Oh, thank you.
The tennis or the wash hands and the. Let's see this.
Then,
Okay, can you make your motion again, Counselor, please?
May I have a motion to go out of closed session?
I make a motion to do
Second.
that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. We're in open session now, and in closed session, we discuss items only listed in the agenda. The purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property or water rights by the public body. Okay.
No,
We need
no action was taken. They took
Right.
a vote to come
Oh,
back.
come back in. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Missed that.
Next item, announcements and agenda items. Number one, budget meeting. It's going to be April 21. Hope you all can attend at 1:00.
Yes, yeah. Mandy will send out the draft budget 72 hours prior to that meeting.
Number two, update on GO bond process. Well, number three, liquor license hearing, be middle of May.
So that one will be for the property, the Robert Hobbs property on the corner of Meadowlark and Corrales Road.
Is there a restaurant going in?
Yes, they want to put in a pizzeria that will serve, they want to do a restaurant license. Oh, Randy, can you attend that meeting on 19th, May 19th?
Where do they want?
Put in a pizzeria.
Yes, I'm good.
Where Bell's Urban Deli used to be.
5:30.
5:30.
Are they gonna come?
5:34 or 6:30, right?
Yeah.
Number four, approval of resolutions for changes to PRA plans for police and fire employees.
We finally have a date on that. It's been on the future agenda items forever.
Pass it. Number five, uniform traffic ordinance changes, first reading. And number six, draft noise ordinance discussion. That's future. Any other items?
Yeah, we were talking with Representative Cates, and did you want to help
Yeah.
with that one?
Sorry.
We're talking about maybe having or allowing us to have,
Forum.
a forum with regards, because my old bill that I brought last year, just having a hard time with, everybody agrees with the bill, but we just can't seem
Oh,
to get
the one about the appraisals,
the
yeah,
appraisals, right?
and farmland easements
I mean,
and
this is so big for us here and it's getting worse.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah,
but,
yeah.
we'd like to be able to see if we could have a forum here, and Representative Cates was her idea, but, if we could have that forum here.
Like you have the people running
Candidates for
this comment,
county assessor.
Only for that.
For county
oh, of the
assessor.
county assessor.
Yeah.
Right, and
Okay.
that they would get the questions beforehand, so they'd be able to answer people's questions about appraisals, Corrales.
And we'd have to have it, hopefully prior to the start of early voting.
Right.
Oh,
So
that's coming up fast. Yeah.
It leaves us only 6
First week in
weeks.
June is the,
Yeah. Because we,
early voting starts the middle of May.
yeah, it does.
And actually, suggestion came up to have a forum for the candidates for county assessor, county commissioners, just
Yeah,
a
that's-
forum for
yeah,
open
that's-
forum.
That's what they're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
just have the candidates here
Yes.
and
And ask them,
Open-
questions
yeah,
that
okay,
will be
good.
sent to them will be expected to be answered.
yeah, I mean, to have,
I think the farmland,
Preservation,
no, the
farmers co-op.
the farmers co-op will kind of organize the whole thing.
Okay.
Is there a date that we can agree on, or maybe you could work on coming up with a date that doesn't conflict with any other meetings going on and stuff? And when this is available?
Yeah. Yeah, the only time the council chambers is not available is, on council meeting night and then P and Z night. And then we would, if you wanted to have it Zoom, then we would need a staff member here to
Do
be
we
able
need to have
to.
a motion that allow us to allow you to move forward with allowing them to come?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
it's probably sometime in July or,
Oh, no, we would need to do this like in the next
In May.
2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because early voting starts in mid-May.
so it would be before primaries. then.
Right.
Yeah, because, early voting for the primary starts in mid-May.
So we have, is this for the county commissioners and
No,
count?
county
It would
assessors.
just be for the county
Just
Just for
assessor.
county assessor?
That's all.
Okay, and how many candidates are there now? 3?
I don't even know how many people are running for county assessor.
She's
They're,
Democrat and Republican need to be.
I think there's probably only 2.
no, I think they're,
I'll reach out to
Tank
Sam
and-
Thompson tomorrow and
yeah.
But I think it's really important. We're going back to the rationale for it, but it's really important because, we want to know how they feel about the bill that everybody else seems to be okay with, but our own county is not online. So we need to at least feel them out.
I'll see what I can do and I'll get with Sam Thompson and
Yeah,
and
that's
see if we
pretty
can.
quickly then, yeah.
Yeah, we do. We need to move fast.
And then for a future item, again, May 12th, we can get a report for the CAT area.
Yes.
The remodel.
I've got it in my notes. Thank you, Counselor. And then I think we're going to get an update on the Corrales Growers Market at the next council meeting as well.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Now what is that?
Okay, we finished all our agenda items, so, meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
We also have to see whether or not this future agenda items is going to be able to attract the crowd tonight.
Right.